Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're grappling with a really tough story. It's about incredible talent, immense pressure, and, sadly, a sudden and tragic end. We're going to try and understand the life and ultimately the death of former NFL running back Doug Martin.
Yeah, a name many fans will instantly recognize.
Exactly. Martin, who many fans knew as the Muscle Hamster, was a genuine force. Pro Bowl, All-Pro. He really built his career on proving people wrong about his size. But the news that brought him back into the headlines recently wasn't about football glory. It's the startling fact that he died October 19th, 2025. He was only 36 years old.
And the circumstances are deeply unsettling. He died while in police custody.
Right. Following what the authorities are calling an unspecified medical emergency.
That specific detail, dying in custody, linked to something so vague, that's really the crux of it, isn't it? It makes you stop and, well, look beyond the headline. So our mission today, for you listening, is to really try and map that trajectory. How does someone who seemed physically unstoppable, I mean, this guy ran through NFL defenses.
Taper, yeah.
Exactly. How could he not outrun his own, let's say, personal challenges? What does his whole story, from that amazing start to this tragic end, tell us about the pressures on these elite athletes, especially after the spotlight fades?
Okay, so let's start with the beginning, the ascent. Because Doug Martin's origin story, it's kind of classic underdog stuff, built on defying the odds. He grew up in California, but he really made his name at Boise State University. That was, what, 2007 to 2011?
Right. And that Boise State background is key context here. Not a traditional football powerhouse.
At all.
And then there's the size factor. He was listed at 5'9". Scouts, well, they consistently underestimated him because of it.
You hear that story a lot. Too small, won't hold up.
Exactly. The reports back then questioned if he could survive the sheer physicality of the NFL week in, week out.
But you couldn't argue with the production, could you? He earned first-team all-conference honors twice at Boise State.
Yeah.
And he finished his college career ranked in the top 10 there for both rushing yards and touchdowns. So he clearly used that doubt as fuel.
You have to think so. Which brings us to the 2012 NFL Draft, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They actually traded up to grab him. 31st overall pick, end of the first round.
And people called it a reach, didn't they? A risk.
Some definitely did. But what's really striking is how quickly, how definitively he proved them wrong. He just validated that pick almost instantly.
Oh, more than validated. He absolutely exploded. That rookie season, 2012, it was something else.
A defining moment for the Bucs, for sure.
For you listening, just picture these numbers. 1,454 rushing yards, 11 rushing touchdowns. And he wasn't just a runner. 49 catches, nearly 500 receiving yards, another score through the air.
And the big number, the total yards from scrimmage, was 1,926. That's the stat that really puts it in perspective.
Almost 2,000 yards as a rookie.
Right. And at that point in NFL history, only two rookies had ever gained more. Eric Nickerson and Edgerrin James, Hall of Famers.
Wow.
So you have this relatively undersized back from Boise State, suddenly in the same statistical breath as legends. It wasn't just a good rookie year. It was like a phenomenon. He made the Pro Bowl, obviously.
And that physical style, that compact power, led to that nickname he supposedly hated, the Muscle Hamster.
Yeah, reports are he thought it sounded, cute, not tough.
Didn't reflect his power.
But it kind of did capture his running style, didn't it? Low center of gravity, churning legs, just relentless energy. He was like a bowling ball.
He really was, built on this image of being just unstoppable.
But that image, that identity, it was about to hit a major wall. The physical reality of the league.
Okay, let's shift there. Segment 2. The physical toll, the turning points. Because after that incredible rookie high, things changed fast.
It really did. The next two seasons, 2013 and 2014, his production just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, the numbers were stark. 456 rushing yards in 2013, then 494 in 2014. A huge drop.
And this wasn't about effort,
Yeah.
This was the body breaking down. We know he battled persistent shoulder injuries.
Right.
And honestly, the cumulative effect of playing running back in the NFL, especially maybe for a smaller guy taking those hits, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Season after season, it adds up. The body just rebels.
It's an unsustainable level of punishment, really.
It often is.
So you have this peak, then this injury-plagued valley, but then showing that incredible determination again, he stages this massive comeback in 2015.
Just unbelievable. Talking about resilience, he bounces back with 4,402 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns.
Earning first-team All-Pro honors.
Yeah.
His second Pro Bowl, just an incredible swing back.
It really was. But think about the whiplash of that experience, going from the top of the league to basically being written off due to injury, then fighting all the way back to elite status again.
Exhausting, physically and mentally.
Absolutely. And that volatility, that up and down, kind of sets the stage for the next really critical turning point. And this one wasn't just physical.
Right. This was 2016. The suspension. 4 games for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy.
The specifics of the substance were never fully disclosed publicly.
Yeah, kept under wraps.
But this is a crucial moment to analyze. An injury takes you off the field, right?
Yeah.
But a suspension like this, it hits different. It affects your contract, your reputation, maybe even your sense of self.
Totally different implications.
And you have to wonder about the context. Was it related to managing the chronic pain from those previous injuries? Was it perhaps a way of coping with the immense pressure to stay at that all-pro level he'd fought so hard to regain?
We don't know for sure.
We don't. But the reports suggest that this incident started to shape the narrative around him more than the Pro Bowls did. It added this layer of risk, maybe. Unreliability.
Yeah, it cast a shadow. And it really did signal the beginning of the end of his prime years. He played out his contract in Tampa.
Then signed with the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders at the time for the 2018 season.
And after that one season in Oakland, he retired. He was just 29 years old.
So young.
Primarily cited ongoing injuries. And then he basically vanished from public view.
And that early retirement, stepping away at 29, that's really relevant to what happened later. Think about it. Your entire identity, your entire adult life has been defined by being Doug Martin, the football player, the yards, the hits, playing through pain.
Just structure the team.
All of it. And then suddenly it's just gone. That void can be incredibly difficult to navigate. He stepped away and we didn't hear much.
Until this year, which brings us to the events of October 2025. Segment 3, the unanswered questions. This is where the story becomes incredibly murky and tragic.
Okay, let's lay out the known facts from that morning. It was very early, around 4:15 a.m. in East Oakland, California.
Police responded to a call about a possible home break-in, and according to their reports, that's when they encountered Doug Martin.
Right. The official account mentions a brief struggle before he was taken into custody.
And then, the critical part, while in custody, he became unresponsive.
The official statement says he died following an unspecified medical emergency. Paramedics were called, attempted aid, but he was pronounced dead at a local hospital.
Unspecified medical emergency, those words hang heavy.
They really do. And the institutional response tells you how serious this is being treated. The officers involved were immediately placed on administrative leave, standard procedure in many places,
But the investigation, it's massive.
It is. 5 separate agencies are involved in investigating his death. You've got the Oakland PD's Homicide Unit, their Internal Affairs Division, the Oakland Police Commission, an independent community review agency, and the Alameda County District Attorney's Office.
5 different bodies looking into this. That's a lot of scrutiny.
It signals, I think, a deep awareness of the sensitivity here. A death in custody, especially involving a known figure, requires an extraordinary level of transparency, or at least the attempt at it. This isn't just a routine internal review.
No, clearly not. And while all this is unfolding, his family released just a very brief statement, basically asking for privacy, saying the cause of death was, quote, unconfirmed.
Understandable. Heartbreakingly brief. But that lack of concrete information, that vacuum, it immediately led to, well, a lot of speculation online. Theories, accusations, but also just profound sadness.
Yeah, people trying to make sense of it. How does the muscle hamster, the guy who ran over defenders, end up dying like this?
It's a jarring disconnect, and it leads directly to the bigger questions, the so what? How could this happen? Could it have been prevented? What does it say about the systems around athletes?
Right. That brings us to our final segment, connecting Doug Martin's personal tragedy to these broader issues, athlete transition, mental health.
You saw the statement from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his former team, expressing sadness, noting his lasting impact on the franchise. That's the official organizational response.
Sure, the expected statement.
But then you think about the personal reality for him. His entire young adult life was built around this identity of being tough, aggressive, resilient, playing through pain.
An identity forged in unbelievable pressure and physical sacrifice.
And then at 29, it's just over. The structure is gone. So the question becomes, what support was actually there for him? We talk about mental health resources, addiction recovery programs. How accessible, how effective are these for a player who's retired, who's outside that NFL bubble, especially someone who seemed to withdraw?
That's the potential systemic failure, isn't it? When the cheering stops, when the structure disappears, what happens then? It's not just losing a job. For many athletes, it's losing who they are.
Exactly. And it's particularly acute for guys like Martin who retire early, often due to injury. They're suddenly civilians, often still quite young, without that built-in support network, without the daily grind that defined them.
It just makes the tragedy feel even heavier. He was only 36. He should be, coaching somewhere, maybe involved in the league, living a full life after football.
Right. Instead, his story ends with the police report, under these deeply troubling and unclear circumstances.
The contrast is just brutal. The fierce competitor we saw on the field, the guy who defied his size to reach the top.
Versus the man who apparently succumbed to, well, unseen struggles and died in such a grim, mysterious way. That contrast really defines his legacy now,
It
unfortunately.
really does. It's a stark lesson.
Yeah. And it leaves us, and you the listener, with this really difficult question that resonates from everything we've looked at. How do we do better?
Better for athletes transitioning out of the game. Better for people struggling with addiction, often hidden. Better for anyone fighting those internal battles when the thing that defined them is gone.
Right. It's not just about the specifics of this case, as important as those are. It's about prevention, about support, about seeing the person beyond the uniform or the stats. How do we as a society, as institutions like the NFL, address this? That feels like the most critical takeaway from this deep dive.